Well, we're here at the house on 3rd Street, and Sue Daugherty and I decided to build this house about 3 years ago. She held a public forum that included representatives from the Ohio Public Utilities Commission, as well as the Ohio Consumers Council, our state and national elected officials, pricing authorities, representatives from the power companies. The conclusion after that forum was that there's really nothing we can do about the cost of delivering energy to homes and buildings. We really thought that that was a non-answer. So we started looking for ways that we could build a home that if we couldn't do something about the cost of delivering the energy, that would use less energy. And we came upon Bob Martin, who had a product called Ready Wall. It's an ICF product, or an insulated concrete form. It's a really advanced design. And ICFs really started in 1941 when styrofoam was first invented. Styrofoam was used to package cluster bombs for the war effort in Europe. And being that they had to use every resource they had 1 million extra containers over there once the bombs were taken out. So they cut off the bottom, stacked them, and filled them with concrete, and they found out the buildings were pretty much bomb-proof. So that's really where the concept for ICF started. So they've been around a long time. They only comprise about 5% of the market currently. There's a 6-inch core every 10 inches vertically, but also on the end, we can swing this around and show you, we also get a core horizontally every 12 inches. So what you end up with is a lattice work or grid work of concrete posts and beams, and that allows for flexibility. All the products that we use and have used throughout history have been wood, stone, in some form or the other, and what we know now is that all those products allow radiation to go right through them, and heat and cold is radiation. ICFs stop it dead at the surface because they have a quality called emissivity, and right off the surface that energy is deflected away. So on the outside it deflects heat and cold away from the building. On the inside it deflects the heat right back into the building, so it never really leaves. You'll find in an ICF house that the temperature at the floor and the ceiling are the same temperature because the radiation is just bouncing around off the walls, ricocheting, and it really evens out the temperature throughout the house, so every item in the house is the same temperature. Also, in a forced air house, a person is heated by the air just against the surface of their skin. In an ICF house, the radiation is penetrating their entire body, so their entire body is being warmed, and therefore a temperature about 66, 67 degrees feels about the equivalent of 70 degrees in a typical home. So they're very comfortable, very quiet, great for sleeping because you really don't hear any wind or any outside noise at all. And they're also a healthy house. The house on 3rd Street was built with no materials that support off-gases, moisture, bacteria, or mold. And for that reason, no wood was used in the house at all. It's all composites. Even the door shims that were used to put the doors in place are made from composites. On the outside, you can see the styrofoam up above. Those blocks are filled with concrete, extraordinary strengths, far exceeding existing 2x4, 2x6 structure, even more advanced than a 12-inch concrete block. One in. Welcome to the house on 3rd Street, and probably one of the first things you'll notice is that while it's in the low 80s outside, it's very comfortable on the inside. We won't need air conditioning as long as we manage the heat and don't create heat through light bulbs, cooking, and other things. The house on 3rd Street is about 1,633 square feet to be exact. The wall boards are a composite product called AquaTough. The trim, which looks like wood, is really also a plastic product. In the bathroom here, we use a tankless water heater, which you may be able to see down below the sink. If we could do one thing in this country alone, it would be to move from tanked water heaters to tankless. One of the things we wanted to accomplish in building this house was to overcome the concerns that many people have that an ICF house is going to look dramatically different than existing homes. They think it's going to be an igloo, they think it's going to be something they can't relate to. So I think that by seeing the outside of the house and the inside, that you can see that it's really quite a normal looking home. Very comfortable. There really is no difference. Because the house is so tight, We're losing about 1,200 BTUs per hour. To give you something to relate that to, that's equivalent of about 4 human bodies. Human body gives off about 300 BTUs, so 4 people would create the heat needed to heat this house during winter. A typical house loses 14,000 BTUs. But because the house is so tight, we also need to be concerned about air quality. Up above we have the whole house HEPA. It's by a company called Life Breath. Very advanced design. It brings fresh air in from the outside, removes allergens and bacteria from the air. Then the air is dropped into an air exchange unit. This uses the inside air temperature to warm the outside air temperature before it's distributed to each room. So there's no recirculation of air in this house. It's all fresh air delivered to each room. Like a tankless water heater, we don't want those running all day long if we're not here. So over here we have a CO2 switch. And this CO2 switch monitors air quality. And so when someone's breathing, putting off carbon dioxide, then it'll turn the system on. If there's no one here, then the system simply won't run. You may not recognize the attic of this house being anything close to what you see in the homes that you live in. It's all steel trusses, a metal roof. About 14,000 screws went into assembling it. But once again, it doesn't support mold or moisture or bacteria. Also, we have foam insulation in the attic versus fiberglass or cellulose. Much higher values, much better quality, and it really does a job. Right now, that attic is probably around 140 degrees, but yet when we're in the house itself, it's still quite comfortable, so it really does a great job. We're in the master shower, and the shower was designed as a maze so that moisture can move out readily, so there won't be any shower curtains or shower doors to impede the moisture moving out and away from it. One other quality of the shower is that it has an infrared sensor, so when you walk into the shower, the water comes on automatically, and when you move away from the sensor, it shuts off automatically. So there really are no controls over the water once you're in the shower. This is a larger tankless water heater. It provides the hot water for the shower, the laundry, and the kitchen. And you can see the 2 different chambers. One chamber heats up the water to partially, and then the next chamber kicks in and heats the water up to the temperature that you're really calling for. The house also incorporates Vanguard's ManaBlock plumbing system. It's much like a breaker panel. Just like a breaker panel has a turn-off for every circuit, the ManaBlock also has a turn-off for every line in the house. There's a separate supply line to each side of each faucet, so we can control either one. I can turn off the cold water to the faucet in the bathroom, or I can turn off just the hot water, which is nice for maintenance. Sue and I really believe that energy is the #1 issue facing our country and everyone in it. But the ones most affected are the people who are making $6, $7 an hour, let alone $10, $15, $18 an hour. There really are no political officials leading the charge to do something about energy and energy efficiency. We think that it has to be a grassroots response, and that's what this house is about. We'd like to go on and build upon the house on 3rd Street and build a science and education center in Sandusky. It would be showing people where we've been, where we are, and where we're going, and to start giving us some hope that there are answers. And there are short-term and mid-term answers. We really think education is the short-term answer, letting people know what products are available. The mid-term is showing them those products, showing builders how to build energy efficiently, and then the long-term response is certainly alternative energies, wind, solar, biodiesel, hydrogen, all those that we've heard about. But we also in this village want to show people those as well so that they're familiar with them and understand how they work. So that's what we're working on for the future.